So everybody, it is the day after the night before a fantastic victory at Old Trafford. That has gone now, and all attention once again turns to the transfer window, which of course opens tomorrow. It's a very exciting time, I think, for us Newcastle United fans. And yet again, we have been linked with some very good players in the media this morning. I picked one particular player out who I think will make a big difference to the team. Also, a player heading out, possibly, depending on wages, but we'll come to that a bit later on in the video. Now, the player that Newcastle United are linked with this morning is a striker, and that is 25-year-old Omar Mamouche. The Egyptian is currently playing for Frankfurt in Germany, but he has had a sensational start to the season, guys. He has 13 goals in only 15 games, and he's also helped with 30 goals in total this season if you calculate his assists as well. It's a brilliant start to the season for him. There is no valuation in the report, so I'm not sure whether we'll take a look at him in a transfer show or somebody will come out with a valuation on. I would expect it to be quite high, if I'm openly honest, the stats that this guy has come back with this season. Now, I know people will say, well, the Bundesliga, it's not quite as competitive as the Premier League. That's possibly right, but the Bundesliga is still of a high standard. I watch a lot of the Bundesliga, and the football is very good over there. But this guy is, I mean, he's touted as the next Mo Salah. I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like anybody saying, oh, he's the next this, he's the next that. I think every player is an individual. But if he turns out to be anywhere near as good as Salah, then we've got a lot to talk about. Now, Arsenal are interested in him as well. The reason being that apparently Arsenal have been put off by the price tag of £150 million, of course, for Isak. I don't think Isak was even going to Arsenal anyway. I think it's a load of pie in the sky. I'll come on to Isak in a minute because there's more pundits basically telling him to sign for Arsenal and how Arsenal would win the league if they had Alexander Isak. But it seems like they're completely put off by the price tag. They can't afford that kind of money, and they've turned their attentions to somebody like Mamouche as well. Now, don't get me wrong, Arsenal, yes, they do have the pulling power, no doubt about that, but we are on fire right now. And compared to a couple of weeks ago, we are so much more in the picture to sign bigger name players than we were when we were down in 13th in the Premier League, because obviously signing players look at where you are in the league, they look at what projects you've got going on, where you think the team will be in a certain amount of time. Now, for me, we are going to be right up there this season now. I think we have definitely turned a corner. We're playing a really strong 11 every game. We're not mixing it up all the time. Players know where they need to be. The work rate is incredible. The morale is so high in that dressing room now. And that's what any incoming player would look at and want to come to. You know, there's no doubt about that the Mamouche will talk to Mo Salah about coming to the Premier League. And Mo Salah may well put him off going to Arsenal because, you know, there's a bit of rivalry there. So you never know. You just never know. But I'm not sure how much this guy is going to cost. That's the thing. But like I say, very, very good player. And he knows where the back of the net is. Now, Newcastle have some problems with the strikers at the moment, as we all know. Will Asula, for me, he's not quite up there for Eddie yet. I think Eddie has his judgments about Asula and his, you know, it is what it is with him at the minute. He's not getting many minutes. Here and there he does, but he's not a prolific striker either. He never has been. So, you know, he's on the back burner for me at the minute. Callum Wilson, we all know about Callum Wilson, don't we? You know, he could go in January. There is rumours that he's going to be sold, or we're going to keep him and just let him go as a free transfer in the summer. Now, if we do keep him till the summer, then he's going to be around after this injury, but how long for? You know, surely the guys or the hierarchy at Newcastle will turn around and say, we don't know how fit Callum's going to be. We don't know when he's going to be available to play or for how long. We need somebody to come in and push Alexander Isak, because we know that Isak, as good as his goal scoring is at the minute, he has always responded when Callum Wilson's been back on the bench. He steps it up another level. And that's what we need. We need players in every position to push each other. And bringing Mamouche in would certainly push Isak. But it would also give Eddie Howe the opportunity to rest Isak sometimes and give Mamouche the start and just rotate them and keep them fit all season. Because that's been the problem. Isak is playing a lot of football right now, and we know that he's had his injury problems in the past. So we definitely need somebody to come in and help out for Isak, because, you know, too much football, we know that Isak can break down. And I think if Isak's given a rest here and there, he's rotated, I think that does him the world of good. But Mamouche is certainly a player that I would love to see at Newcastle, because this guy is clinical, he's quick, he's a very, very good player. So keep an eye on that one, guys. Now, Alexander Isak himself has, for the third time, come out and explained how happy he is at Newcastle United. Now, this is on the back of, I'll run through a list of names here, Tim Sherwood, Paul Merson, Theo Walcott, and our old friend Troy Deeney, all once again asking him to sign for Arsenal. Paul Merson come out and said that if Isak signs for Arsenal, they will win the league. No doubt about it. Well, Paul, the thing is, Arsenal, who I've just mentioned, are looking at other strikers now because there is no way they can afford Alexander Isak at 150 million quid. And Newcastle United are not going to play ball with an elite player. You know, why would we? We are now up there challenging with you, whether you like it or not. Newcastle United are up there challenging. And I know that the cartel hate the fact that Villa and Newcastle are up there, but you know what? It doesn't matter to me. I couldn't give a mouse's shit about it, to be honest. Arsenal, you can whinge on as much as you want, or you can get all these pundits coming out saying, oh, sign for Arsenal, sign for Arsenal. Isak has once again come out last night and said he is delighted and so happy with Newcastle United, and mentioned the rest of the season as well, and what the team have got to do and what his ambitions are for the rest of the season. So for once, please just shut up with this Isak nonsense to Arsenal. He's perfectly happy where he is. He's banging in the goals for Newcastle. And we are not a fucking stepping stone for the cartel. That's what gets me, is that these pundits really are convinced that Newcastle United is this dark ages place to live, and the players want to go to London, the players want to go and play for Arsenal and use Newcastle as some sort of stepping stone. Bullshit. Doesn't happen anymore. So shut your faces and maybe look at another striker. Talk about another one. Because saying, oh, you should sign, you should get out of Newcastle, all of this is totally disrespectful to our football club, because we're challenging you now and you don't like it. So stick it. Also, Miggy Almiron, who is a player that is expected to leave in the January window, of course. He has been linked with many teams in the last few weeks. Teams in Argentina as well. I think it was River Plate he was mentioned with. But it seems to be that MLS side Charlotte FC are the team that are in the driving seat at the minute to sign Almiron. Toronto FC have also shown an interest. Now, that was an interesting one for me because obviously Matty Longstaff is at Toronto. So there could be a bit of influence there if Matty has a word with Miggy and says, oh, you know, it's a fantastic place to live and great lifestyle, great football team, and, you know, you'll enjoy your football in Toronto. But the problem for me is, as we've said many, many times, is the wages. What is Miggy going to accept as a wage? Is he going to take a wage cut? Is he going to be happy with a wage cut? Or are we looking at something, you know, where we just can't get a deal done because of his wages? Are we going to look at Newcastle maybe helping out with the wages? I don't know. But Miggy, I think, has to accept that it's his age now, and where he is in his football career, I think he's going to have to take a pay cut, lower his wages, and if he still wants to play at a competitive level, then lower your wages and go and see out your career. That's what I would say as a fan. It's all down to Miggy. But that would be the sticking point for me, is wages. That's been mentioned in various media reports regarding Miggy Almiron, as to whether the wages may be a problem. But time will tell on that. But it seems more and more likely that Almiron is going to be one of the first out the door as soon as the window opens. Now, another Newcastle United target who has been mentioned in the last few weeks is Matheus Cunha, of course, of Wolves. For me, I don't think this is ever going to happen. But again, media reports this morning are saying that he is a target of Newcastle United. But of course, he has been banned for his actions against Ipswich at the end of the game at Molineux. Of course, if you saw it on the telly, it was just a disgrace, really, some of the way the players acted. Cunha's been banned, but the question was going to be, would he still be banned for the Newcastle game in a couple of weeks? He won't. He will be back. And this report I've read this morning claims that it's an audition to come to Newcastle. I don't think we got any chance of signing Cunha. I don't think we actually want Cunha, but the media seem to suggest that it is a possibility. I don't think so. I think there's other targets for us that we are going to prioritise in the month of January, which opens tomorrow. It's really exciting, guys. We're going to have lots of transfer shows, lots of news shows. So thank you very much for watching. Please do give it the thumbs up. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, as we are now on our way to 35,000 subscribers. But don't forget to hit the notification bell that will let you know when we upload any videos like this one or we schedule in our live shows. Speaking of that, if you are watching this in the early hours of New Year's Eve afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, of course. We are back at 4 o'clock, around tea time, for our match review of the game against Manchester United and, of course, the player ratings. So if you can, tune in for that. If you're watching this after that, then obviously it's already been. You can go back and watch the replay of that one as well. But have a great day, guys. Thank you very much. Take care.